Now, for the latest news from Libya, let's go over to Christian and Guru Murphy in Tripoli. Krish.
Thanks, Matt. Well, there's still a sense of rather stunned bewilderment here in Libya, but this is a truly historic weekend. The work begins for the post-Gaddafi nation. The whole of the National Transitional Council has effectively decamped back to the east to Benghazi, where they will announce the next steps tomorrow. Now, that will mean the first democratic elections to be held by June of next year. It will be for a new 200-member National Council. Now, it's all such a new concept. They don't know where that council will sit yet. There is no parliament building here in Tripoli. At least a quarter of the members of that new council will have to be women, and there will also be a minimum number of lawyers, I'm told, because the key job of this first and perhaps only National Council will be to come up with a new constitution, which may come up with a new head of state, a new parliament, whatever it wants, within about 6 months. As for Gaddafi, well, as these pictures will show, they are still queuing in their thousands in Misrata to get proof for themselves that the dictator is dead. Until tonight, an appeal by the Gaddafi family exiled in Algeria for his body to be handed over for burial had been ignored. But it seems tonight that is changing, and officials are saying that Gaddafi's body is likely to be handed over. But it's not absolutely clear when, and for now the public humiliation has gone on as people wanted to get their own evidence. They've still been taking in those mobile phones, but it's clear that this cannot go on for very long. It is a rather ghoulish ceremony, and as you'll see from these pictures, they have changed the staging of it slightly. They are distressing, so some of you may want to look away for a moment, but the body of Muammar Gaddafi now lies alongside his son, Motasim, who was also killed around the same time. Their bodies have been slightly prepared. They've been covered more than they were. But although this is a refrigerated truck, I'm afraid nature means that this simply cannot go on for much longer. They need to be either properly stored and frozen or examined forensically or buried. Now, there is still no confirmed news on the whereabouts of Saif Gaddafi, the man many people thought and feared would succeed Muammar Gaddafi eventually. There have been all sorts of rumours as to his whereabouts. At one point yesterday, there were celebrations here because they thought he was dead. Then they were told that he'd been captured, but it appears nobody really knows. There is no clear information on that. But he, despite being at large, doesn't pose any serious threat to the process here, which all takes place in Benghazi. Now, the final major duty of the current interim Prime Minister Jibril was to go and visit soldiers in hospital in Benghazi today, and there are still many people who are wounded as a result of this war. Tomorrow, the formal festivities, if you like, and ceremony will go on in Benghazi. But for now, the celebrations all over the country and here in Tripoli as well are continuing. There are people still thronging in the early evening to Green Square, Martyrs Square, as it is now known. And the real problems that face this country in the coming weeks and years are only just beginning to sink in. Young men all over this capital with weapons that need to be gathered. They need to be taken in, and those young men need to be got back to work and back to the jobs that they were doing, which many of them didn't like. The country needs to start working again in a way that it hasn't worked for a long, long time. These are huge challenges for yet another interim administration to get its head around. But for now, people are still celebrating. They feel they are making a start. For now, from Tripoli, back to Matt Fry in the studio.